my buddy Jack on today. Dude, we were chatting a little bit before this. You've got a cruise coming up. You've got a lot of other things we're going to kind of dive into. But before we start, how are you? Just you yourself. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. We it's been a while since we've chatted, so I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to this.
Yeah. As a quick little background, I met Jack down at, where were we, Georgia, for a speaker school through Art of Coaching. So shout out to Brett. And we've pretty much instantly connected. I first saw him and his wife in the elevator. And
Mhm.
then walking into the event itself, I was like, oh, great. And then we became good friends there. Good workout. It was a good time.
That was a killer work. That was a sweet pump, man. That was a good
Yeah,
one.
crushed me on that too. So,
Yeah.
um,
No, it's funny because in that elevator, I'm like, there's no way this guy's actually going to go to the same event we're going to, which was pretty cool. So
yeah.
yeah, but yeah,
So, dude, give a little background about yourself. So, like, who you are and who you help, kind of thing.
yeah. So I'm a coach. I'm a jack of all trades when it comes to coach. I work with basically men and women ages 25 through 50, 55 who are looking to become more well-rounded, robust, badass humans, or as we like to say, harder to kill. So us, someone who wants to become jacked and lean, they ultimately also want to become harder to kill. And I help people achieve that highest version of themselves. So I'm a coach that looks at your training plan, nutrition plan, supplement plan. We go through lab work. We do mindset work. We really bring it all together under one umbrella to help you become the highest version of yourself.
Love that full holistic approach to it.
Yep.
Care to go into a little bit about what Jacked and Lean is?
Yeah. So jacked and lean is less about a physique. It's more about a way of being. It's a lifestyle. So when you live jacked and lean, you are harder to kill. You make more money. You have better relationships, right? Everything in your life elevates because you have better energy. We talk about a lot about becoming the energy you want to put back in and receive into, from the universe. So
Mm-hmm.
we, like I said, optimize your training and your nutrition and your everything else to help make sure that you can keep taking steps forward in every aspect of your life. Because the way, if you are jacked and lean, you are a well-rounded, badass human. So like I said, jacked and lean is more of a way of being than anything else.
Yeah, I
So my
love
wife,
that.
I named Eileen. When we figured that out, we thought that was pretty cool. We got to make something about this.
Yeah, dude, my mind was blown when I found that out. I was like, that's so cool. That's like awesome.
Yeah.
I got two friends and they just recently got married and their names are Adam and Eve. So I thought that was pretty funny too. They don't have anything
It's
cool business together or anything, but
very
it's just kind of funny.
serendipitous. That's awesome.
Yeah,
They could start like a Bible school or something. That would work.
yeah, yeah. Um, so share a little bit about the coaching process. Like, have you always been a coach? Because I know you coach online. Do you still coach people in
Mhm.
person? And can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we work primarily online now, but we do offer hybrid services. I've done over 20,000 personal training sessions in my career. Worked all
Wow.
the way from just doing exclusively personal training all the way till I mentor coaches now, do online coaching for clients. We're going to be really delving into more like resource creation and education stuff here, long form
Mm,
content, and along with our website that we'll be launching. So I've been a coach in some form in a lot of ways for a long time now. So when we're coaching people, again, like we're really deep diving every aspect of your day and of your being. And as I've evolved as a human, it's let me relay that back into my clients. As I've gained perspective in life and I've had a couple of young kids and I've started businesses, my coaching has evolved. So one of the things we love doing as in our coaching process is taking someone who initially has one goal and they finish with this goal over here. So, if
mm.
you were someone who's a marathon runner, you might end up being a bodybuilder. And there's no endpoint you have to achieve as long as it's some vision you hold for yourself. So, so as I've evolved as a human, Eileen's evolved as a human, we've rolled that into our coaching.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what got you into personal training in the first place?
So I was going to play baseball in college. That was my goal. And I got hurt. And I
Mm.
was going to college to become a lawyer. My wife says I have good argumentative skills. But so I was going to become a lawyer, and I was actually almost graduated with like a political science economics degree, and I flipped because I got hurt, so I wasn't able to play. And I was like, I got to do something fitness related. I was a really scrawny, skinny guy. I was like 135 pounds when I graduated high school.
Really?
So I was scrawny and I wanted to do something fitness. And I was like, hey, maybe lifting weights will be my thing. And I went to the gym and my cousin, he was into lifting weights at the time, and he put 135 on the bar. And I was like, hey, I'm an athlete. I can bench this. And I dropped it on my chest. He looks down at me and he goes, you're a little, word I'm not going to say. And he walks away. And after, what felt like forever, got the bar up off of me. And I sat up and I was like, I'm never going to be called this in the gym ever again. And that was right around the time I got hurt. So it was all in on the gym. And then as I started to learn more, and as I say, I coach like an onion. So I keep peeling back layers with my coaching. As I kept learning more about myself and coaching myself, I was like, hey, I should do this for other people. I enjoy it. So I flipped my majors despite what my parents thought was best. They're like, we basically just helped you pay for a full degree in this, and you're going to go 180 the other direction. My dad thought I was going to become a caveman, just lift weights all day. But little did he know that it's something he actually finds really passionate. He has a lot of passion in now too. So yeah, it was kind of a cool journey.
Beard for the caveman though. How long has the beard been going for?
Dude, I haven't shaved a beard fully down to like nothing in probably 15 years now. It feels like. Wow. The last time I was 18, I think I shaved because I was in ROTC. They made me shave, and I got it to like a stubble. That's the lowest it's been. My wife says you cannot shave, or we're done.
We're done. Love the ultimatum.
It's just transitioned from head to facial hair over time. So I'm bald now.
So kind of reflecting back on the school, do you have any kinds of like regrets about not finishing through with law school, or do you feel like you've really found your true calling with coaching?
It's interesting because I work with a lot of 25-ish year olds, but I've also worked with a lot of people like in the 18, 19 realm, especially as they're getting into bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. And I've been asked this question a lot. And one thing I do wish I had done was take a little bit more time to think about what I wanted to do, or had some sort of guidance or a bit of a mentorship. My parents were both successful and they both went to college, but they went to very traditional career paths. My dad's a statistician, my mom was an actuary. So like just hard numbers and data. For me, fitness wasn't a thing when I was in school. It was just becoming a thing. Instagram was just launching. So I don't regret anything. I just wish I had maybe thought a little bit more about it, because I probably could have saved myself a lot of time and money, and maybe set myself up a little bit better, which is why when I'm coaching people now, it's like, let's have an end vision. Let's curate that vision, the way you walk, talk, think, act. Let's reverse engineer a game plan. Because that was the one thing I don't feel like I ever did until, honestly, relatively recently.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you with that too, because I think I switched majors. I think it was like second semester sophomore year. And then I thought I was just going to I wanted to get into nutrition, be a registered dietitian. And then I became a strength and conditioning coach. And now I'm speaking and doing a bunch of different things. So everything's always changing and evolving. But I totally feel you on that. Not enough people get to reflect and think ahead into the future. So I know you said it's important to kind of get that big picture with a lot of your clients. Do you work with many clients come in and they know like exactly what they want right off the bat? Or is it kind of like you have to peel the layers back one at a time to kind of get there?
I would say a lot of people think they know what they want until we actually dive deep. And then they either uncover more and it really drives that home for them, or it makes them shift. And this is why, let's say, for example, someone wants to lose weight when they come to me. We start losing a little bit of weight, but they realize long-term, they just really care about how they feel. Like they're feeling so much better, and they realize their other goal is to advance their business or start a family or whatever. So the answer is, people come to me knowing what they want, they think. And sometimes it ends up being that, other times it ends up being something completely different. And that's why we have a very specific, I call it a bulletproof goal setting process. We basically walk you through and curate that end version of yourself, which lets us, again, reverse engineer the process.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
I just don't think anyone ever, you never take the second to think about it. When was the last time someone like really sat down and drew that picture of themselves, right? Again, like how they walk, talk, think, act, how they eat, how they sleep, how they train. Without that level of detail, how are you ever going to get there?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I don't have like a set schedule or practice, I should say, for myself. But a few times a year, I'll sit down with like pen and paper and I'll just write out like, hey, where am I at just in life, like with my career, with my relationship, with my friends and everything. And then where do I want to go? Because I feel like that changes so frequently. And I feel like every time I do it, I kind of get a little bit clearer of a picture of what actually I want to get to. And then that gives me kind of the runway to work the next couple of months or so towards that a little bit better.
I love that, man. Yeah, sorry, finish up. I like what you're
I was
saying.
just gonna say, how often do you personally do that reflection process of like making sure that you're still aligned with your like goals and such?
So it's actually gotten more frequent over time. It used to be never, and now I
Yep.
do it weekly.
Wow.
So, yep. So Eileen and I actually we have what's called an L10 meeting, and essentially what we have is we have rocks even for the quarter. We have these long-term vision goals. We have things spaced out in time frames, 3, 5, 10-year visions,
Hmm.
and actually weekly we do quick check marks on are we on track, off track with these. So we'll real quickly run through gut check. Are we on track, off track? If we start to identify that too many things are off track or that we feel like we've been off track for a while, we can dive deeper. So
Nice.
you kind of set this almost grand plan at the start, knowing it's going to evolve. But the frequent checkpoints, it's like when I'm checking in with a client, I have them check in with me weekly. I have them log their habits daily because as we go, then we can start to curate their path. But you have to have those frequent check ins.
Mm. And how do you determine which habits you need to do to get to your goal?
There's always the filter I use, which is what is the next singular thing I can do that will move me forward in my goal, my business, my physique, whatever it is. What is that next singular thing? That is priority numero uno. So I'll always make sure I track that habit, right? And then there's also what is the linchpin that's going to stop me from getting there. So what is the next singular thing, and then what's the biggest thing that's going to hinder me, and what am I doing to solve that? So I'll make sure I always track those two things. So, for
Mm.
example, like when it comes to your physique, right? There's basically your food, your sleep, your stress, and your training. Did you get your training in? Are you low stress? Are you sleeping well? And are you eating well? Check those boxes minimally because those are going to be the big rocks that move you forward. And if those are off, then you troubleshoot and you can add a layer of detail. So, how was your sleep quality if we identify sleep's an issue? How are we solving that? Let's track that habit. I definitely take pride in meeting clients where they're at. I've worked with hundreds of people at this point, and I've gotten good at kind of understanding where someone needs to be met versus like there's optimal over here, but they're here and maybe we're in the middle somewhere or slightly skewed towards them and I can evolve them there. But a lot of that also comes from just expectation setting and basically, hey, you told me you want this. Here's what's going to get you there. So usually that helps them bump this way a little bit more. But at the same time, too, it's the nuance matters, but I think some people can get lost in the small nitty gritties. So like tracking, like everything, every human should track their sleep, they should track their stress levels, they should track their food. So over time, it just is a matter of these are just, I think, basic habits. So it's less overwhelming when you reframe it to them like that. So there's subjective and objective ratings, for example. So like I track a number of variables, but one of them is literally like how do you feel stress level 1 through 10, and that is obviously a bit subjective, and so I'm tracking trends more so over time. But then objectively, like sleep goes down, and if I see sleep going down, I'm saying, hey, let's touch back on stress, and why aren't you sleeping well? So I use other variables to like link together the one that might be more of a subjective thing. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I, I track trends, and honestly, I can when I pull lab work too. I believe everything is contextual, but like I'll pull lab work with somebody, and we'll see like elevated cortisol, and we'll see other markers like white blood cells are affected, like things that can also indicate like stress on the body. So if we feel like someone is keeps rating low subjective stress, and I'm like, hey, we need to add a little objectivity to it. Let's find a lab marker or some other way to like add a little objectivity, and maybe that helps bridge the gap. You know. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it still says recording on my end here. Do you want to check to make sure that it saved everything we had talked about somewhere? Okay. Okay. It's good. I like it so far. You do a great job asking questions, bro. Yeah, for sure.